Welcome, everyone. This is the Gavel. I am Terry Ikumi. The countdown to the resumption of plenary is underway, and pending any changes, plenary is expected to resume on the 20th of September. Now, there are plans in place for plenary to be held in committee rooms as renovation in both chambers has commenced. Now, despite Parliament being on its annual recess, lawmakers continue to hold meetings, especially those of the House of Representatives. The Finance Committee of the House, in the week under review, continued to sit in consideration of the Medium-Term Expenditure Framework 2023 to 2025. During an interaction with the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Council, FCCPC, the committee chairman, James Falike, called for the sack of its Director of Finance over alleged extra budgetary spendings. Our first report contains the details and more.
So far, since the Committee on Finance began interactions with government agencies and ministries to arrive at suitable parameters for the Medium-Term Expenditure Framework 2023 to 2025, one thing has been consistent with almost all the agencies: extra budgetary spendings. It would seem, however, that the financial statement of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Council, FCCPC, was the straw that finally broke the camel's back.
You want to be given the right to spend the money that should go to CRF. We shouldn't even get the little that is coming from you. You are getting about 3-point-something billion this year. You are spending over 2 billion, and you are still insisting that you want financial autonomy when we are borrowing over 11 trillion to fund 2023 budget. Does it make sense to you, sir? We are bleeding. Does it make sense to you that we are borrowing over 11 trillion to fund 2023 budget, and this year alone you have made over 3 billion, you have spent over 2 billion for no good reason, and you are insisting that you want financial autonomy for your agency? Does it make sense to you, sir?
Last year, in the whole of the year, you spent 38 million naira on publicity and advertisement. But so far, in 7 months, you spent over 142 million naira. The same thing, I think it applies to virtually all your overhead. If you look at local training, in the whole of 2021, you spent 198. 7 months into the year, you are spending over 266 million naira. If you look at local travel and transport, the same thing. So what we get from this, is that we just see it and create expenditures around this income that we generate. It's even more unfortunate that you're a fully funded agency, you're expected to do 100% remittance, and you just go haywire in terms of your spending. We're not prudent in the way we manage the resources of this country, and I think, sir, something really has to be done about some of these agencies.
Interestingly, the committee observes that the Fiscal Responsibility Act does not prescribe punishment for such actions and calls for an amendment of the Fiscal Responsibility Act. They further direct the Accountant General to block the account of the FCCPC in the interim.
The half year is supposed to be how much? Half year, your overhead?
Our overhead is supposed to be 140.
140 million?
Yes, sir.
So, and that half year, you have spent 2 billion. Outside appropriation.
But what I'm trying to draw...
No, don't draw our attention. We are asking questions.
Okay, sir.
You have spent money not appropriated. Yes or no, sir?
Was that
Yes or no, sir? You spent money not appropriated.
We presented...
Yes or no, sir? You spent money... Where's the Constitution, please? What happened to the 4 billion? I'm not asking for your challenge.
We use it to augment our overhead costs.
Okay, give me your full details, please. Tell me your full details. Your name, the date you joined, the date you joined your service, and your service number. Right away, please. Your name.
My name is Aki.
Your full name, the date you joined, and your service number.
My name is Aki Ogban Ujosa. I joined the service March 13, 2015.
2015?
Yes, sir.
And then your service number is what?
I will provide the committee with my service number.
I need it now.
Okay, sir.
We need that service number now. Okay. Because people like you should not be heading any agency. Clerk, collect his service number, write a letter. I want to personally sign to the Minister of Finance. He must be removed.
On Wednesday, the Nigerian Postal Services appeared before the committee where it appealed for a special intervention to prevent the agency from shutting down. Ismail Adewusi, Postmaster General of the Federation, stated that the agency was comatose and needed urgent intervention. Lawmakers seemed to buy into the idea.
If you have a law, for us not to be seen as breaching the law, it is expected that you will make an exceptional case for your agency. Have we made any effort in making a case for the agency?
The way we operate today, NIPOS is comatose. It's just a matter of time before NIPOS eventually dies, if no intervention happens. Because as you are aware, Mr. Chairman, one of our major strengths is in this stamp duty collection. It's already gone. We are not doing it anymore because of our issue with the FIRS. So that one is gone. Now our traditional business, there is a problem because of external factors. That's why I said that what we are doing now is to see how to do other things differently so that we can begin to realize some income and revenue. But the way we stand today, we need intervention one way or the other so that we can at least begin to restore our old infrastructure, which has been in complete abandonment for about 30 years. NIPOS has not been in the federal capital budget for 30 years now. And so it has affected. That's why when you go out there, you will see most of our infrastructures in very bad state. And it's because the little money we earn as revenue is not even enough to sustain our operation, not to talk of doing any major capital expenditure.
Also, the Registrar of the National Business and Technical Examinations Board, MTEF, who appeared before the committee, appealed for a bailout for the board. She said compared to the West African Examination Council and the National Examination Council, few candidates sit for NAPTEP, and some state governments who sponsored candidates from their states were owing.
Some of the monies that states used to, when they for children's school fees, they don't, examination, they don't pay this money as at the time the registration takes place.
So you stop doing exams on credit.
We can if we stop, we will.
If states do not pay as at when due, there's no point giving them credit
They do pay eventually, sir, but they don't. For instance, the money that has been deducted this year, some monies that were paid the incomes that were earned like 5 years ago or 4 years ago.
So now this is the question.
That came in now have been deducted.
This is the question.
So
why will you grant an accommodation to states that will keep your money for 5 years when we need the federation needs the money more than the states? Because eventually, if it comes to the federation, it goes back to the states.
Thank you, sir. Permit me to explain. You see, amongst the three major examination bodies, the NECO has all the secondary schools in Nigeria to certify. The same with WAEC. But NAPTEP, relatively few technical schools in Nigeria. So our catchment, the population of our students is very, very limited. If not for during the private candidates, those that have done other exams, they still come to do NAPTEP to make up. So that is why we are trying to encourage states. We are trying to encourage everybody to take our exams. Because it's also important because it's skill-based exam. So you asked why we are doing it. We are doing it out of hardship, sir.
Well, I think...
in fact, we are looking for a bailout, sir.
240 million, you have a liability of 400 million. How do you cover the difference?
That's why I said.
Now, in the interim, I am thinking, if you are having delay in terms of payment from state government, how do you even structure what you give to state government? Do they issue you ISPO? If you get ISPO, then there shouldn't be delay in terms of in payment. I think going forward, if you're extending credit to states, you should insist on getting ISPO from the state. If you do that, you are sure that your money will come as at when due, depending on the terms of the agreement. Oh, okay, yeah. Did they agree with the figure you gave them? Okay, so let's find a way to get them to pay. if they are not forthcoming by month end, let's knock it off their account. Whatever it is that they receive, let's knock it off so that at least we'll start afresh. Yeah, it's very important. Yeah, Clerk, please take note of that. How much did you remit?
Thursday's hearing was no different, as lawmakers were particularly upset with the Director General of the Pension Commission, Dr. Aisha Dahiru Umar.
She has become notorious in absconding, so to call it. She plays truancy when it comes to appearing before committees of the National Assembly. So, honorable colleagues, we beg that we step them down today and call for the DG to appear before this committee on Monday. Yeah, because in fact, even what I'm seeing in terms of the remittances, 1.1 billion against a revenue of over 20 billion, that's not acceptable. We know you're self-funding, but in spite of that, 20.7 billion, you're remitting just 1.1 billion. So you earn all the money and also spend all the money. So please, dear Commissioner, we will step you down.
What percentage is that? Chairman, let us know what percentage.
No, the DG should be in a better position to respond to us.
They have a gift.
They will, let them all.
Who's in charge of finance?
No, we've already ruled. Order, please. We've already ruled, please, dear Commissioner. Tell Madam DG that the committee is interested in sitting with her. We're giving her another opportunity to appear before us on Monday, 11 o'clock. I think she will be in a better position to respond to some of the questions that we will want to ask. Right? So we're stepping down PENCOM. We'll take them on Monday, 11 a.m. Thank you.
Also absent was the Director General of NAFDAC, even though, unlike PENCOM, their submission was entertained.
When you're submitting a budget to the budget office, don't you capture these line items?
We do.
So why will you be spending from the money that you generate?
NAFDAC is partially funded, sir.
Partially?
Yes, sir.
So out of 16 billion, the expectation is that you spend 50% and you remit 50%. How much did you remit?
We, in 2021, over 3 billion was...
Which was over 3 billion?
Where we expect you to remit over 8 billion, you are remitting 3 billion. FRC, how far?
The Finance Act, as they are partially funded, they should limit their expenditure to 50% of their revenue and remit the balance of 50%.
Let's do the reconciliation tomorrow. By Monday, give us their position.
Okay, sir.
There's no point wasting too much time. You know, once you have a position, let us know.
Okay,
we
sir.
give the directive that it should be net off their account.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
OAGF, we expect you to give us the balance of their account by Monday.
And just like NAFDAC and other agencies, the under-remittance of the Nigeria Railway Corporation was also observed by the committee.
If you are partly funded, the regulation now allows you to spend 50% of your revenue as expenditure. You can expend 50% of your revenue. That's if you are partly funded. But as far as we're concerned, NRC is wholly funded, so you do not have any right to touch any money that you generate. You cannot just sit in the comfort of your offices and just start spending money, creating expenditure on revenues. And I'm quite sure what you have expended this fund on are not budgeted for. They are not part of your budgetary provisions.
They are, sir. Every year, when any time that the revenue budget office requested for our budget, we always put almost like we put about 5-6 billion as our overhead. But at the end of the day, we'll be giving 105 million.
That does not give you the authority to spend the money that you generate.
Following observations of under-remittance, extra budgetary spendings and concerns of inadequate or weak punishment for violation of the fiscal responsibility law by these MDAs, the onus is on the National Assembly to make amendments and carry out proper oversight on a more consistent basis.
Our next report looks at the investigation of the House Ad Hoc Committee on Subsidy Payments. One of those meetings was with the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, NAITI.
establishes.
As the country prepares to exit the subsidy regime by June 2023, the ad hoc committee of the House of Representatives meets with the Nigeria Extractive Industries and Transparency Initiative, NEITI. The committee is saddled with the responsibility of obtaining information surrounding the payment of subsidies since 2010.
Yes, still on page 1. This tabulated format. You know, trying to understand what he's trying to pinpoint here. If there are steady payments of all subsidy-related claims in 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, why should we have to pay 1.9 trillion or 12 million US dollars in 2011, and then immediately it drops down to 690, 495, and then it goes. Does that mean that in 2011 there are increased activities within the country that consumption that almost doubled the consumption rate? As the organization so scheduled with the responsibility going by your act to check what happened for the interests of Nigerians and Nigeria, what is your finding on this plummeted variance? Because of serious concern, and making it part of your report, it means that you have adopted it. We want to know what you have found, because I'm sure you must have done due diligence on this.
The committee questions why payments on subsidy has always recorded an increase during and before an election year.
The tragedy of our situation is that when prices are high in the market, we don't benefit, we buy. So when prices are, like now, prices are high as a result of conflict, Russia, Ukraine, oil producing countries are smiling to the bank, but we buy. So if there is anything that triggered within the international market for the oil prices to go high, Nigeria is vulnerable because we go to buy. So we don't benefit. Whatever we sell, we buy. If it's high, we sell high and buy high. So we don't break even. Maybe if we look closely on our 2011 report, we might see major global developments in the oil market that triggered the prices. Oil went almost $120 per barrel. Instead of us benefiting maximally, we're also buying. Just as now, we're buying when it's high, when it's low, we're buying. So we are not in anywhere. A country like Norway benefits maximally at that time. If we are refining our products here and we're sustaining local production here, we'll be insulated from high prices when it's high. When you see the fluctuation, it's a reflection of ups and downs in the international market.
Like you rightly said, two factors contribute to subsidy payment or how we are utilizing our local consumption. One, because we don't have local refining capacity. You're aware of the 445 that goes to our local refineries. This is the one that is allocated solely for local consumption. But this has been over 20 years or so. But there's also increase in population and also increase in so many factors. So we go to the international market because our refineries are not operating optimally. We have to take it out. That's why there's a swap. We go to the international market and buy this crude at that international market rate. An international market rate are governed by two factors. One, the price of the crude itself, and the exchange rate. So all of these things, if we are not sufficient internally on this, we are exposed to international obligations on that. It's not controlled internally. So that's why you see fluctuation in the value of the imported product. You might import the same product, same quantity, but because of there's fluctuation in prices, and that the price and then the exchange rate, it will go high.
The Nigeria Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, NEITI, says Nigeria spent 13.7 trillion naira in subsidy payments from 2005 to 2020. It's over a month since the committee began its investigation into the subsidy payment by the federal government. Since then, many revelations have been made from the Minister of Finance, Director General of the Customs Service, as well as oil marketers.
The crude oil price, which was appropriated at $73 per barrel for 2022, has improved significantly to $103.6 per barrel. Exchange rate, which was appropriated at 410 naira 15 kobo to the US dollar, is now slightly up to 415.19 to the US dollar. Inflation, which we projected to be at an average of 13%, is now up to 17.71%. And this is as at July. It has, from all indications, it's still continuing to climb up.
The issue is not the smuggling of petroleum. I have always argued this with NNPC. If we are consuming 60 million liters per day by their own computation, why in the world will you allow a liftment of petroleum product of 98 million million liters per day? That computation to me is not even anything to believe, because scientifically you cannot tell me that if I fill my tank today, tomorrow I'll fill the same tank with the same quantity of fuel. And if I'm running a petrol station today, if I go to Mina Depot and lift petrol and I'm taking it to Kaduna, I may reach Kaduna in the evening, offload that petrol in that evening. There's no way I could have sold that petrol for you to account that that has been expended. So how do we get to 60 million every day? If you say this petrol is smuggled, if you release 98 million liters, and then in actual you have released 98 million liters, and then we use 60 million liters, the balance will be 38 million liters. How many trucks will carry 38 million liters? Every day. That's almost 500. Which road are they following? Where are they carrying this thing to?
At no point in time have we received any subsidy payments. I was even going to ask if the amount you mentioned are in Naira, because there's no Naira subsidy payment that NNPC makes. So I believe that document may either be...
So they make payment in dollars?
No. That's what I'm saying. There's no reference to subsidy. Like we've said in the first submission, we have not received any Naira from NNPC whatsoever for any subsidy whatsoever.
Okay, so you have received zero payment from NNPC?
Yes. On subsidy. Yes, sir.
The committee is yet to receive the CBN governor, whom lawmakers had berated almost a month ago for failing to honor their invitation.
Well, that's the Gavel this week. Thanks for your time. Remember to send feedback to thegavel@channelstv.com. I'm Terry Ikumi. Goodbye.